It's time for the Role Players Podcast with your guy, Mr. B, and as he calls himself, Mr. Know-It-All J.
Philosophical J, huh?
Yeah, philosophical, know-it-all, all that stuff.
Coach.
Coach.
One of the best shows ever that was underrated.
I love Coach.
Yeah, I didn't like it at first.
I didn't either, but you know what?
Years.
I had a special connection to Coach at the end. I didn't realize until I was an adult.
What was that?
The expansion team that they had on there that he was coaching.
Oh, yeah.
It was the Jaguars, basically.
I forgot.
Kevin Hardy was a player. And I was like, oh, man.
Yeah,
I saw the last season. I was like, this is even more special to me.
I think Coach kind of just threw me off with the whole way it came on, man. I was like...
It sounded very old.
Yeah, I'll be like, I don't watch that.
Yeah, it was some real Nick and Night vibes. So I was like, I would change. But it was a good show. But you guys, just like Coach is a good show, the Role Players is a good show. Hit the play, then hit the share. Hit play, then share. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spreaker, as well as other platforms that we'll discuss later. But hit that share button on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Don't forget to share your guys. Speaking of guys, man, there's a lot going on in the NFL.
It is.
You know, this has been a heavy NFL season. Usually we try to get into other sports, college football, a lot of other stuff, but NFL has been such a topic all year.
It's been a great year for the NFL.
It has.
And maybe basketball need to take a note from the NFL because it's just like
it's engaging.
It has, even in the off days when there's no game or no action, it has been just so many juicy topics, so many things you could just talk about.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. I turned to the NBA games. I went to a NBA game on Monday, and guess what I was doing?
You was on your phone.
On my phone, checking the NFL score.
That's what I do while watching NBA games. You know, it's kind of background noise to where I just sit there and I say, hey,
yeah.
You know, let me do some editing or something. Let me look up at the TV. Oh, they're up by 10 now. Oh, okay. Go back to editing and I say, oh, they making a comeback.
Right.
And I mean, I'm giving them a rating because I'm not turning from the TV, but the reality of how engaged I am, how involved I am, how dedicated I am to the NBA, it's false. Like, it's not real.
Because I went to see my team. I went to see the Phoenix Suns and the Charlotte Hornets. So it was funny, you know, I was with one of our family members, our cousin, and we was walking back to the car, which we didn't park for. Our car parking is pretty decent down there. So I'm walking a little fast, and I say, man, I'm trying to catch at least the fourth quarter. This NFL game.
Yeah, because it's that important in the NFL. Yeah. And we're coming down the final stretch. We're in the last 4 weeks of the season.
Last run.
This year, the NFL has actually gotten it right with Thursday night football. I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's only one more left, too.
Yeah, it's only one more left, and I'm kind of mad.
All of them been pretty good.
They've been good. The Thanksgiving games were good. I know a lot of times we say, oh, that's going to be a snoozer. But no, they're actually getting them good. And then I think having Troy Aikman and Joe Buck call the games, that's probably for the best.
Not Tony Romo?
Nah, because you don't have a better tandem out there than...
You like Romo?
Romo's okay. You know, I put Romo and Booger McFarland in the same boat. You know, they're good, but it is times when I'm listening to them and I'm like, I could kind of watch this without you. You know, but they're good.
Yeah. Romo's getting a little better.
He's getting better. You know, that was his first go at it. It's better than Jason Witten.
You know somebody who's really good, low key, and they don't give a lot of credit?
Who?
Steve Berline.
Yeah, I'm not mad at Steve Berline. I like Charles Davis. He called y'all game.
He's all right.
Yeah, I like Charles Davis. He's okay. But that Thursday night game was pretty good.
It was, wasn't it?
It had a lot of implications in it. Dallas Cowboys going up to Chicago to play the Bears. They needed a win. Jerry Jones has been cited or rumored to be crying in the locker room and the players were screaming after the Thanksgiving game. It was just a mess. And this was their redemption game. They still hadn't beat a team over 500. They were 6-6. The Bears were 6-6. This was their redemption game. Came out strong. Came out real strong. Then it just went downhill. They lost to Trubisky.
Well, I would call this, if that was a redemption game, I would call this Red Dead Redemption topic.
Oh, man. Shoot them up, bang, bang.
Because
knock them down.
I mean, what can you say? I mean, the Bears, to be honest with you, the Bears they were in the worst possible shape. It was only another team, which is Cleveland.
Yeah.
That was in worse shape as far as teams who thought they would be contending for the season.
Man.
And the Bears rolled off a win against Detroit, and they came into this game kind of hot. And they look like world beaters.
Yeah. It's just, man, if you're Dallas, where do you go from here? I didn't listen to Jerry Jones after the game because I knew it was going to, I assumed it was going to be more talk. Jason Garrett is our guy. I'm disappointed in the results. We need to get back on track. This is a good team. I'm pretty sure it went about like that because I didn't even get any notifications about what he said, if it was anything crazy. But the Cowboys in this NFC East race, it's a mess. And the mess is starting with Jason Garrett. It's just, when is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? This week we finally saw a domino fall in the coaching carousel of the 2019 season going into the 2020 offseason. And that domino was Ron Rivera. Riverboat Ron, he's been doing it for quite some time. I think, since 2010?
Yeah, he was in his ninth season, the second coach to get fired this season.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know, man.
I mean, when I look at Dallas, man, and last night as I'm watching the game, it's the blank stare. The blank stare normally mean I don't know what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
And I mean the blank stare from everyone, even Rod Marinelli, the defensive coordinator. Then you got Richard, who's the second, the signal caller for the defense. And,
Hope went out the door last night.
Yeah, and then you have, Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore has really the old-minded defensive coordinators, the veteran defensive coordinators in this league, like the Chuck Paganos and the Sean McDermott's for Buffalo, and these guys really been putting a number on Kellen Moore, and that's why inexperience. That's why they're not beating anyone over 500, because most of those teams over 500, they have veteran defensive coordinators.
That's a good point. It's just, when do you move on? Because that's the topic here. When is it time to move on from your coach? Because you look at Jason Garrett, he's been there since 2000. He's been there quite some time.
He's been there for a while, since Bill Parcells, right?
Yeah. I think he was the next man up. He's been there a while. I think I saw it was 2007. Don't hold me to it. I know if you're listening to this.
Was podcast. Dave Campo before or?
He was before. Dave was a mess.
He was before Bill.
He was before Bill, then Bill, then
right.
It should have been Jason Garrett. He's been there since like 2007, and he has 2 playoff games. As far as the most tenured NFL coaches that's coaching right now, currently in this NFL season, most of them have playoff wins. Most of them have close to, if not double-digit playoff wins. This guy has 2, ladies and gents, 2. When do you move on? Because on the flip side, you look at a guy like Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin deserves a lot of heat if you look at the record. But looking at what he's done, this organization is holding on to Mike Tomlin. The Steelers are holding on to Mike Tomlin. This guy is producing a team that is in playoff contention. They are on their 3rd quarterback. They traded away a quarterback in hopes, early in the season, because they were like, well, we're good at quarterback. So they've really gone through 4 quarterbacks. Juju's been hurt. The running backs have been hurt. Other wide receivers have been hurt. You had the whole debacle with Mason Rudolph going crazy with Garrett. a lot has happened. Players have missed games. They traded for Fitzpatrick. That looked like a horrible move. It's actually turning out to be a solid move. The Steelers, maybe the defense is not driven by linebackers. Maybe the defense is driven by safeties. They've always had a safety. Now they have a safety. The defense actually look like it's coming together for the first time in a long time. But when do you hold on to a coach and when should you let him go, Jay?
So see, with me, man, I think it's more about never make a tear-jerk reaction. When you make a tear-jerk reaction, you get tear-jerking consequences, a la Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I was a big advocate for getting rid of Marvin Lewis, but I mean, at times I think Zach Taylor, the Bengals head coach, for you all who don't know, sometimes he looks a little overwhelmed. He looks like he's a little out of his element, and he decided, I don't know if it's an organizational move or if it's a head coaching move, his move, but he decided to run with a inexperienced quarterback, and then he went back to Andy Dalton, and Andy Dalton gets you a win. So at what point do you make a franchise decision or a team decision? So what I mean by franchise and a team, you have some NFL. Everyone is not a franchise. And when we speak franchises, we say, what's the first thing you think about with a franchise?
Quarterback,
but just franchise word, period. When you say franchise, what do you think? McDonald's?
Well, yeah. Like, if you go down that route, yeah.
You don't think Burger King, right?
No.
No, you don't. So McDonald's.
Nobody wants to be number two.
McDonald's is selling food, and Burger King just dropping burgers, right?
Yeah, they are definitely just dropping burgers.
Yeah. So that's the same thing as a franchise organization, NFL. You have to have a franchise, man, and tied to the hip is a franchise player, is a franchise quarterback, is a franchise coach. I can go on all the teams right now that's contending for a Super Bowl, and I can guarantee you they either have a franchise coach or a franchise quarterback. And then you just have teams. So I'm gonna say a couple teams, and you name me their quarterbacks. Cleveland Browns.
Baker.
Head coach.
Coach Freddie Kitchens.
All right. Now, New York Giants.
The quarterback?
Yeah.
Daniel Jones.
Coach.
Pat Shurmur.
I mean,
they are definitely tied to the hip. You know, I'm a big, I guess, advocate, or I've bought into the system of the quarterback and the coach are tied to the hip. When you have a good franchise or you have a good coach, who his quarterback is, his signal caller, all of that, man, it makes a big difference. Now, every so often you get a guy like Bruce Arians to sign up. But when you get a guy like Bruce Arians, you say, look, we're doing a trial run with Jameis Winston. If Jameis does not work out, so be it. Because I can guarantee you the Buccaneers are going to take them a quarterback that they believe in this offseason in the draft. I don't think they're going to sign one. I don't think they're going to trade for one. I think they're going to take someone fresh that Bruce Arians can mold. But that head coach has to be able to mold and have him a quarterback that he's tied to.
Right.
So I think a lot of times, kind of piggybacking with what you say, Jay, how is the quarterback on that team? Because if you look at a lot of quarterback situations in the NFL, some of the most questionable ones, the Panthers had a questionable quarterback situation.
Yeah.
Now Ron Rivera's gone.
Yeah.
The Jaguars have been rumored to be ready to move on from Doug Marrone. That Nick Foles thing, Blake Bortles thing, debacle.
Yeah.
Debacle.
Would you consider Jacksonville a franchise or just a team? And what I mean by just a franchise and a team, like a team,
it's just a business.
Everyone is not in the business, and it's been quoted. Some players, and you got to believe me, man, because I played. Everyone doesn't want to win a championship. Some people are just happy with just
the paycheck,
or just going out there.
Yeah, a lot of times, and And I don't think they see it until they get later in their career. But yeah, you're 22, 23, you're getting out of college, you've been drafted. Hey man, I call this the Carmelo Anthony complex. You've made it.
Yeah, you've made it.
You've made it. So now it's just, hey man, I'm gonna come out here, play, be one of the best players, and get a paycheck. But no, that's wrong. But that goes back to the head coach. Like, the head coach has to create a culture. The head coach has to have an established quarterback. For me, I think it's time to move on from the head coach when you start seeing the little things happen.
But is that okay?
Is what okay?
Is it okay just because Marcellus Wiley was one guy who came out? He notably came out and he said, I'm going to be honest with you. I never wanted to win a championship. That was never on my mind with entering the NFL. I could have cared if we lost 15 games. So is it okay for a franchise to just sell tickets and not be in the business for winning? Because that goes down to coaching. Because that's going to result in you bringing in, I like Freddie Kitchens. He seems like a cool guy, but that's ticket sales versus championship sales.
Yeah, but if you're in the business for any franchise, any organization, however you phrase it up, if you're in the business of, hey, we want these ticket sales, then you're an idiot, because the only thing that sells tickets are wins. The only thing that brings success are wins. The only thing that brings fans and merch being purchased are wins. This is the business of, we need to win. It's just the business of direct success. This is a win. This is a loss. It's that black and white. There's no in between. There's no gray area. How many wins do you have? How many losses do you have? When your head coach cannot get enough of those W's and too many of those L's, okay, now that's a big red flag. But sometimes, like Tomlin, like some other guys, Bill Cowher, before Tomlin, he had some seasons where you were like, oh man, this is it. He had some losses.
Yeah.
But again, I think you have to pay attention to the little things. What is the culture of that team like?
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of Marcellus Wiley guys where they say, hey man, I'm just here to play, and then they go home and they think nothing of it? Good sir, you are a talent, and I totally respect you. But in the name of Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick, you got to go.
So you're what's his name? You're Arthur Blank this season coming up.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, Jay's laughing because I made
Arthur
face.
Blank, and I think it's Thomas Dimitroff, correct? That's the GM.
Yeah.
Still, you're those two guys, and you're sitting down in your February meeting. But what are we gonna do? Your what do we call it? Your Black Monday meeting.
Yeah.
What are you? And you can give me a team as well. So what are you going to do?
If I'm Arthur Blank,
because you have a coach who went to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's right. That's
just
right.
A couple years ago.
That's absolutely right. You chose an excellent. That's an excellent choice. If I'm Arthur Blank, first, let me do my due diligence. I'm going to talk to the man that's probably, or one of the men that's directly up under me. Yeah, I am going to talk to Thomas. I'm going to talk to Thomas. I'm going to say, hey, man, what is your take on what happened this season? Because I just want to hear his thoughts, because his thoughts are going to tell me where this team's culture is at. What's the mindset of this team? Then I'm asking, well, where do you think the team needs to go? Because from where I sit, he may be on the hot seat too.
Yeah.
Because now I'm interviewing him. I'm interviewing him for his own job.
Yeah.
So I'm like, look, man, I'm thoroughly disappointed in where this team has gone since the Super Bowl debacle. I don't see progress being made. It looks as if we're cornered with the money on the team because it's tied into Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. I don't see a clear out. Where is your out? How are we going to get out of this? Based on what he says, then it depends on if he is saved or if he's thrown off the bridge. He's thrown off the cliff. Then we're going to move down. Because if he's there, then we can have a conversation about Dan Quinn. We can have a conversation about Dan Quinn, and that's not a long conversation either.
No.
Look, it's done.
Yeah.
It's over. I don't know what we can do as far as with the talent, but the one thing I do know that we can do, we can move on from Dan Quinn. Now, speaking of moving on, who can we get to come in and coach this offense? It's an offense-driven league. I want an offensive mind that can come in and get us in the right direction. We had a defensive-minded coach. The defense suffered. The defense had injuries, I understand, but it also didn't produce results. And then the offense suffered more than the defense, which made the defense suffer. I need my offense to be good. I have a Pro Bowl quarterback. I have a MVP caliber quarterback. I need to know, where are we going? So now that Dan Quinn is off Dan Quinn and his coaching staff, it's gone. It's done. Now that all of that is done, man, where do we go from here? That would be my direction, because there are no more wins for Dan Quinn to get. There are no more losses for Dan Quinn to get. It just brings me to the conclusion that, hey, man, your coach defines the culture. It defines how your team moves forward. It has a lot to do with the quarterback. I don't think Dan Quinn can do a good job with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan was at a Pro Bowl Hall of Fame level, and now he's faltered. All because Shanahan's not in the building.
Yeah.
So that's apparent to me that you don't have a good grasp on your general of the team, the man of your players. You don't have a good grasp on him. You seem like it's well over your head. I wouldn't say I don't hear the right things from Dan Quinn in press conferences, but really, as a fan, as a critic, as a podcaster, as whomever, the audience of the NFL, we're watching, we're looking to see improvement. I don't see that from Dan Quinn. And the little subtleties where I say, yeah, you have to pay attention to the small things. What does this head coach say? What is the culture that he's building? How is he with his quarterback? You know, who is his defensive general? Who are his assistants? Are his assistants coveted around the NFL? It's a lot of little things that would make me say, hey, you know, maybe it's time to move on. And another big thing, I know the GM plays his part, but for my team, you ask me if I'm Arthur Blank, I would like my coach to be in on the draft day room and free. I would like to hear his thoughts on what would help the team. The minute that I don't value what the head coach thinks, it is not saying that I have to pick what he says.
Well, that's between the coach and the GM.
But still,
then you gotta trust.
If we don't value him, if we don't trust him anymore, it's time to go.
You got to trust the relationship.
That's my move on. So, Jay, you chose a good team for me. I'm going to go ahead and throw you the hot team, Cleveland Browns.
Oh, man.
Cleveland Browns, man.
So if I'm the Cleveland Browns owner.
If you're the Cleveland Browns owner, where or how do you approach this? And is it time to move on from guys? So let's just say guys.
It's guys, okay. So first of all, if I'm the Cleveland Browns owner, I'm going into it wide open, man. I mean, and I'm going to shock you when I say this. Because I'm into building franchises and not teams. You know what I mean? I'm about building things. So if I'm the Cleveland Browns owner, I sell the franchise.
What?
Yeah, man. Because he's in over his head. He's picking the wrong type of people to run the organization. And how does Cleveland Browns leave Cleveland, become the Baltimore Ravens, become a historic team, and then the new Cleveland come in and they're the old Cleveland?
All right, so you're owner Jay.
So I'm owner Jay. So owner Jay comes in, and the first thing I'm going to do is with what I've been seeing on the field. So I like the room in the locker room. I like the feel in the locker room. The feel in the locker room, if it doesn't feel like family, and I'm talking about family, I'm not talking about a bunch of goons and Neanderthals that's willing to fight to win. I'm talking about family. It's got to be a family. It's got to be a family environment. And then I'm looking for, how do you carry yourself when you're losing? Because when you're losing says a lot about how you're going to fight to win.
Yeah.
And if you cannot play for your brother and meaning your brother, the man is lined up beside of you, and play for that name on your back and that name on the side of your helmet, then you cannot play or coach on my team.
Wow.
And that's just point blank, man. I mean, the coaching has to be, the team has to be a reflection of the coach. The coaching has to be a reflection of the GM. Correct?
Yeah.
GM's a reflection of the owner. So if the GM is allowing
true
foolery to go on, and what I mean by foolery, we take Kareem Hunt when no one wants Kareem Hunt. You know, I hate to put his name out there, but I'm just saying. Myles Garrett leading the league in personal foul calls. So Myles Garrett leading the league in personal foul calls, and then he got the big personal foul, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's certain things, like in New England, it's a code of conduct. Them guys, you never would have heard Brady said, he popped up on the injury report last week. And did you hear his comments? Brady he said, well, you know, I am bound a little shoulder injury. It's nothing major. I push through it. But Baker Mayfield's on the injury report, and he said, well, I'm about 100% I'm going to play because mama didn't raise no wuss.
Mama didn't raise no wuss.
So to me,
where's the T-shirt?
Where's the T-shirt, man? Speaking of T-shirts, your head coach got a T-shirt on saying Pittsburgh started it.
Culture, guys.
So
culture.
It's got to be the culture. The culture has to be changed. And when you have lost the team, and what I mean by losing the team is you can tell by the play. By the play, everyone's not playing. Certain guys not going 100%. This guy didn't show up for the receiver meeting. This guy, I mean, it's so much stuff that goes on behind the lines that you can tell that you've lost the team. Got to be held accountability. And that's the difference between the New England Patriots and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Big time.
That's just it.
That's big time, you know.
You got to want to win, not only sell tickets. If you win, your tickets will sell. But I can get you some ticket sales now. I just give away free pink shirts during breast cancer.
I mean, yeah. And, you know, that's early in the season. You still can get fans to buy in.
Yeah.
But I think that's fair. I think that's wild that you'll sell the team. But, look, the Cleveland Browns have been a mess for just quite some time. I mean.
Do you think the owner know what he's doing?
I don't know, man. Because that's hard to say. And then I think you kind of start splitting hairs when you talk about ownership in sports, because do they know how to run a business? Definitely. Do they know how to win in a game of clearly defined wins and losses? Just because you had a successful year in ticket sales does not mean you're winning.
No.
Because that's a business win.
That's a business win.
But in a game of clearly defined wins, losses, no ties. I don't believe in ties when it comes to that way. It goes down that path. And I don't know if they do.
And let me speak on something. I'm a coach. I coach youth football, and it has become really big. We actually have to interview for these jobs, you know. And one thing during my off season, which I lost, me and my coaching staff, we lost in a playoff game, but they already said, you know, don't worry about it. We'll definitely be back at it again next year. So They gave me the sign of confidence. But we're going to sit down at some point in time and we're going to talk about the off season.
Yeah.
So it's hard to win at any level. You cannot be. It is so hard to win. You have got to have so many things go right and nothing go wrong, and everybody has to buy in.
Yeah.
And if everyone hasn't bought in, it's just like one screw will throw everything off.
Yeah.
And make everything fall apart. So I commend these owners, but to the owners who just want to sell tickets, man, go get a profitable business. Go find your business to where you can win. Like you said.
They have one.
They have one?
They have one. It's the NFL.
Yeah, you got to win championships, man. How long? I mean,
J-Rock said it best, man. Win, 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 win.
You think the fans gonna keep coming to Cleveland? Because eventually, they stop coming before.
They'll come, but they'll definitely start showing. They'll thin out, and then they'll show up in their brown paper bags. Can you even get a brown paper bag anymore?
Yeah, I seen who was that? The Bengals fans had brown paper bags, and I say, where did they get this from? They had to make it out of cardboard.
Dude, it's a restaurant around the corner from here, and
they don't sell those big bags.
Dude, they have big bags that
to put over your head.
Yeah, that's what they put your food in. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna come here anymore because of the brown paper bag. But really quick before we transition into our NFL pick'em side of the show, okay, Jay, one coach that one bizarre or one firing that you think should happen this NFL season 14. Who's the team? Who's the coach? And a quick why.
One firing I think should happen.
Yeah, and then I'll do mine.
Wow. You put me on the spot.
Yeah, man. This is the spotlight. Ain't that what you want, Mr. Know-It-All? Huh?
Is it Bill O'Brien?
Yeah.
That's his name, correct?
Yeah, you're talking about the coach for the
Texans.
Yeah, I was about to say the Texans.
Yeah.
I don't know why I couldn't think of the Texans. That would be your guy.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, we keep having the same problems over and over again. It keep being repeated. We're being competitive, but we're not quite getting over the hump. So you may need a coach who's more seasoned, who's ready to win now to get us over the hump. I mean, for what he does, he makes good out of. But let's just call it if they wouldn't have fallen into the Deshaun Watson draft pick.
Yeah.
Would he have been fired 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay, he would have been fired 2 years ago. So now the team is playing the same exact way. So we have to at least make an AFC championship.
Oh,
notice I said
he's fired.
He has to make at least an AFC championship, and the reason why is we're transitioning football into the more mobile quarterback. We already have one leg up on that, right?
Yeah,
they have the most seasoned mobile quarterback in the league right now. We have the number one, arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL, and we had arguably the best defensive player in the NFL as well with Justin. What's his name? I'm drawing a blank right fast.
On which team? On the
Texans. J.J. Watt.
Oh, yeah, J.J. Watt.
With J.J. Watt. So
I think it is Justin.
I think it is. I got confused with the other Watt brothers.
Yeah.
So we had that, and we're not winning. We're not getting better. We've actually are the same exact team we was with Andre Johnson.
Yeah, I mean,
and we're the same exact team. So we have to get up. We have to get over the hump. And it's some pretty noticeable coaches out there, like maybe can get you over the hump.
Okay, so I like your pick, and it's Justin James Watt. So
yeah, I thought it was Justin. I was finna say Justin something else Watt.
Yeah, that's very narcissistic of me to remember his name because it's Justin. But I'm gonna go ahead and hit it right on the head, man. Mike Zimmer of the Minnesota Vikings. You got to go.
What?
This guy, I'm not sure if the team is still buying into the system. The team was ready to throw him and Kirk Cousins under the bus. Unfortunately, because Kirk Cousins can't produce, this guy has not won on Monday Night Football. Like, who the hell can't do that?
That has nothing to do with the Vikings.
No, but Kirk Cousins is...
That's Washington.
Kirk Cousins is a nice glass of room temperature water. It's not even cold. Is it going to hydrate you? Yeah. But if we lose this playoff race, if we lose our playoff spot to the Rams or whoever is back there, it's going to speak volumes for this organization and the way the team is headed. Kirk Cousins can't get it done. Now, I know firing him may not solve it, but if we've had discussions of maybe it's time to just move on from Kirk Cousins and take it as a loss, or bring in a guy behind Kirk Cousins to compete. I want a fresh mind. I want someone new. I want a general on the sidelines that he's not been questioned.
Who's in your mind?
I don't know, man. To be honest with you, I can't think of anyone.
I think that's a bad firing.
Right off the bat. That's fine. You can say that's a bad firing all day. But when you have the team ready to just give up and throw you under the bus, and it wasn't even week 5 yet, and the team said, look, we need to get the ball thrown at us all. Nah, man, I think I'm going to move on from Mike Zimmer and let him just go and sign in Jacksonville.
Oh, you just want a good coach.
Nah, man, I probably wouldn't go after Mike Zimmer. I really like Mike Zimmer though, but
you don't think that's part of Kirk Cousins? Because to me,
it's a huge part of Kirk Cousins.
Because to me, they've changed the way that, how they tried to come out, and he went to more of.
I don't blame it.
His style football.
I feel it, but I don't want to lose this playoff race. I don't know where we can go from Kirk Cousins, but I do know we can move on from the head coach. And again, defensive-minded coaches, the NFL isn't a defensive-minded league anymore. If you have a good defense, excellent. If not, then you just score. I just need points, man. I need points. And I would move on from them like that. But moving on from Mike Zimmer, we're going to go and look at these NFL games this week. We had an excellent start to the week with the Cowboys and the Bears. But buddy, big games and primetime lights are on display this week. We have the Baltimore Ravens going to the Buffalo Bills. Man, what a matchup this turned out to be. The Buffalo Bills, they are having an excellent year. They are actually pushing the Patriots for the first place spot in the AFC East. But the Baltimore Ravens, man, they have the hot hand. They are the number one team for a lot of people power rankings in the NFL power rankings. It's crazy how this game has come to be. Lamar Jackson, the running quarterback, let's just go ahead and say he's the running quarterback, but he's getting it done because when he's called upon to make a throw, he's made it this year. He's made it. And then you got the defense of that Bills Mafia. Jay, man, what's your thoughts on this one?
Well. The killer bees of the AFC.
Yeah, man. Boom, boom.
Baltimore and Buffalo. I can't recall the last time Buffalo's really been relevant.
Jim Kelly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
This team's for real, man.
I think so.
They kind of got that.
They're missing an X factor, but they are for real.
They are, but they kind of have that. When you look at Pittsburgh and certain cities that you just say, they just fit. This team is fitting this city. Yeah, it's fitting this city and is latching on.
It's a traditional team,
and you got to give me some credit, man. You gave me credit where credit is due. I said Allen was going to have a good season. Remember,
man, Allen is having an okay season.
He's having an okay season, but he is playing his style football. So Buffalo's going to want
that.
I mean, he doesn't turn it over. He's running. He's using his legs. He's not really an RPO quarterback. He's passing when he has to.
He has a 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio.
Yeah, but he's taking care of the ball for the most part. Who is his number one wide receiver?
Who, Josh Allen?
Yeah.
I don't know. Kelvin Benjamin? I know it's not Kelvin Benjamin.
No. I think it's like Josh Brown or something like that.
Yeah, it's one of those Browns.
Yeah, so it's one of the Brown brothers, one of the killer bees. So
it's John
Brown, right? Okay.
Yeah, 61 receptions, 882 yards.
Man, not bad.
5 touchdowns. Yeah.
You wouldn't have thought that when I told him he was your wide receiver, right?
Yeah.
So Allen is doing essentially what Lamar Jackson is doing. Because who is Lamar Jackson's number one wide receiver?
A tight end.
There we go. So this game is going to come down to X's and O's and who execute better. And I think San Francisco kind of put a blueprint out there, kind of put a test dummy out there for how to stop this team, even if you allow Lamar Jackson to do his thing, because they chose to crash their defensive ends down instead of telling them to stay at home, and they allowed their defensive backs to be the majority of the guys trying to make the tackles on Lamar Jackson, which it kind of worked. It slowed them down. He did put Williams on a poster there with one of those moves, but it pretty much slowed them down, and it made them throw the ball. So I'm kind of interested. Buffalo has a very, very intriguing defense. I'm kind of interested to see how they defend him in during this game. I feel so bad because this is a 1 o'clock game, and I'll be watching another 1 o'clock game that's more important to me. And this one will be on in the corner, like we say. This will be on in the corner.
Yeah,
I'll
it'll
be
probably
watching.
be on. It won't be on. Well, yeah, it might be on my laptop.
And I've got to say, man, I'm finna Berman you up today.
You love Berman. Why don't you just get ESPN Plus to see him and Tom Jackson call football like the old guys on the Muppets?
That's how they sound, too.
Yeah. A bunch of
Buffalo 12, Baltimore 9.
Now, you know what? This week is possible.
Yeah.
Because what was the final score of your game?
2017.
Yeah. So, I know the Bills play games like this. You know, when we played the Bills in the playoffs.
Man, this is a big game for the Bills. Cause
we had a low scoring game against the Bills.
Bills
that was 2 seasons ago.
They got a flex game. They got a flex game with New England coming up here in a couple weeks, like 2 weeks.
Hey, flexy. Hey, man, I know you're going all in on the Bills, but I'm going all in on the Ravens. That Lamar Jackson RPO offense, it's working for the season. Now we get in the playoffs, I'll talk different. But
we shut Mark Ingram down.
That's a big part of shutting down the Ravens. But again, Lamar Jackson has made the throw count when he has to throw. I think he's going to find success against a traditional Bills team. I don't think they're really prepared for the speed of Lamar Jackson like the 49ers were. I don't think they're prepared. I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to be 20-10. 20-10.
Buffalo win?
No, Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
Man, you are nothing but a nugget head, you 49er. And that's where we're going next.
Come on, man. Sourdough Sammy.
Yeah, I'm going to sour you, all right. So the 49ers against the Saints. I guess you could say this is the Gold Rush game.
Gold Rush.
We had the Killer Bees, and now we got the Gold Rush. The 49er Gold against that Saint down in the Bayou Gold. Oh, man. The Saints don't look to have the same luster that they've had in past seasons, but, man, are they not getting it done. I like this Saints team. Maybe this is the one to go to the Super Bowl because they don't have all that luster. I don't know. Because, you know, in past, they've had a lot of hype. And this year, they're just one of the good guys. They're one of the good teams. But this game, again, a lot to talk about. 10-2's on the line. You got playoff positioning that's on the table. The Saints have pretty much taken their division.
Yeah, they won their division last week.
They've taken it. So that's not even on the line. We're just talking about positioning now. The 49ers, which was sitting at the top spot, has slid all the way to, number 5?
Yeah, just a win-loss.
Yeah, because of a win-loss and because of the seeding of the NFL. Oh, man, this is big. I really like y'all going down in the Bayou to play in that dome against the Saints. You have a very fast defense on grass, and on turf, it's only going to be faster. I don't know if Drew Brees is ready for the onslaught of the 49ers defense. However, I always say it every week. I don't know if Jimmy G is ready for the Saints defense. Nothing special about the Saints defense, but they do have the number 2 sack leader in the NFL. I mean, what more can you say? They get it done on the defensive side of the ball, too. You can't sleep on what they have going on down there in that Bayou. I'm going to go ahead and call this game and say, you may not like it, Jay. You're probably going to love it. I'm going to go with the 49ers. I'm going to go with the 49ers over the Saints. Again, I don't think they have that luster that they had last year, but I do believe that the Saints are a good team. This game will be higher scoring than the previous game. I'm going to go ahead and put 31-28 on it.
The 49ers and the Saints actually have a lot of history. Within the last 10 years, there's been a lot of history going on. We know that was catch 2. That was the catch 2 game. Was against the Saints.
Catch 2.
Yeah, when Vernon Davis caught the ball in the end zone.
Man, who remembers that guy?
What? This is a hater move, man. Come on.
That's not a hater move. Ask a Redskin fan.
He's their number one tight end. You got me thrown off with all your hate and your negativity coming from over in that hot seat. Hate. So, I got 2 words for you.
I'm great.
Debo Samuel has been on a tear the last 2 weeks, man. He has been on a tear, and you say Jimmy G is not been, every week that's your guy. Every week that's your guy.
Every single week.
Who needs to have a monster game.
Every single
Even
week.
when he have a monster game, he threw for 450 yards, and you say, well, he got to throw for 100 more, 500.
That's right. I need it all.
So, San Francisco is getting Matt Breida back. They're getting some guys back. They've been a little injury. Richard Sherman is a question mark. That may be big because you have Clayton on the other side of the ball. But for the most part, this is going to be the 49ers' first time playing inside a dome this season. That's kind of scary.
I like that, though.
Yeah, that's kind of scary.
I like that.
I want to see how fast this defense can be on a fast track. So, San Francisco is trying to bounce back. This game means a lot more for San Francisco than they do for New Orleans. New Orleans have clinched their division. They probably won't move out the second spot. Let's just call it what it is. They'll probably be in the second spot. I mean, do you see Green Bay taking them over to be the number 2 seed? Nah.
I don't know.
So Seattle, it's a 3-team race for the number 1 seed. Seattle, San Fran, and New Orleans. And this is the first domino. New Orleans beat Seattle early this season. So this win can catapult them to number 1 seed if Seattle lose again. They would be the number 1 seed. But I think San Francisco, with losing last week, they're going to come with a little vengeance. Last week was another little slop game. Every time they go to the East Coast, it's a rain game. So San Fran's getting some nice weather. They stayed. Check this out. They stayed in Jacksonville this week.
Oh, everybody likes Jacksonville. So I know they wanted to witness Gardner Minshew. They probably were like, Jimmy G, this is how you do it.
Well, not quite Jacksonville. It was Gainesville, Florida.
Oh, he definitely rolled up. He rolled up there and said, this is how you do it, Jimmy G.
So they stayed on the East Coast this week. So it'll be a shorter trip to New Orleans, and they'll be hungry, man. They'll be hungry Sunday. And I got to admit, Mr. I-85, I'm gonna get you, bro. You keep picking my boys, but I got to roll with San Francisco, man. San Francisco. You looking at me?
I'm waiting on this score.
San Francisco 45, New Orleans 31.
You're crazy. So here's a fun fact before we move on to the next game. Who would have thought that Alvin Kamara would not be having or have equally or maybe worse of a season than Breida? It's crazy. Here are the numbers for Matt
Breida hasn't played in like 4 games. Are you kidding me?
Kamara hasn't played a lot of games too.
He missed 3.
Yeah, so again, they're very comparable because they've had the same opportunities. Breida, 109 attempts, 542 yards, 1 touchdown. Kamara, 125 attempts, 587 yards, 1 touchdown. Now you got to look at Kamara and say, well, what is he doing in the receiving game? Because he has 444 yards. I'm quite certain Breida does not have that, but still, though, man.
Now, Breida's in a split backfield, though.
He is in a split backfield. That's why I say, who would have thought that Kamara
Go ahead.
would have a down season like this? And you know where the down season comes from? Mark Ingram.
Yeah. I told you, man, when we drafted Breida, because I love college football. I love to see what's next up, who can change football. And I liked Breida in college, man. And when we drafted him, I say, well, I wasn't expecting McKinnon not to be there, but there's some nuggets in this draft as well too, man, that could change light for, let's say, the Kansas City Chiefs in their running game.
That's a running game that Kansas City needs to fix.
Bad, man, don't they?
The whole Shady McCoy thing.
Did you drop McCoy in your fantasy team?
I think McCoy has been gone for some weeks.
Thank you, God.
Everyone laughed at Buffalo, saying, "Oh well, you're cutting Shady McCoy." Like, are you serious? I mean, I think the wins speak for the Bills, and then you look at Kansas City. They got McCoy, and he's still like the third best back.
Yeah,
he's behind the Williams guys.
He is. But it seems like they're playing him because it can't be money-wise. Maybe it's the relationship with him and Andy Reid.
Well, I don't know if it's the relationship with him and Andy Reid, but it's definitely something to play a factor into the New England game that they have coming up this week. It doesn't have the fireworks that it had going into the season, this matchup.
No.
But this matchup is
must win
key.
for both of them.
It's must win, man. It is a must win. Now, Kansas City doesn't really have a threat out in the West like that. And New England has a threat in the East, but I don't think the Bills are going to dethrone the Patriots. But this game has seeding implications as well. These guys right now, they are jockeying for what position? What position? I got to look it up. They're jockeying for
Kansas City?
Yeah.
Kansas City is they're the third team right now, right?
They're the fourth team.
The fourth team. Okay.
Well, no, the third team. You're right. But they're trying to take out the Patriots for that number 2 spot. Get that bye. Because who doesn't want to buy? Let's just be real about it. Dude. Well, no, they're the fourth team, but the Texans and them are tied. But this has big time effects. Coming off of that sloppy game, the Patriots need to rebound from last week. Now, they almost came back, but it wasn't enough time. But the Chiefs, they seem to be catching fire again. So can the Chiefs be slowed down by TB12 and Belichick? Oh, man, such a big game. Such a big game. This was a hard one for me to choose. You're talking about great offenses, great coaching, running games that are questionable, receiving games that are just as questionable. The defenses, they're different, but they've garnered some of the similar results, man. The Patriots came out with an onslaught defense early in the season, and that just looks like a defense. The Chiefs, it's just a defense, but they find a way to get it done. But, man, this game is probably one of the most even matchups of the season, of the week. I have to do the Patriots on this one. I think that a lot of people are buying into the Patriots and Tom Brady being done. But I don't know. Going up to Foxborough to play in that temperature and that cold. And I know Kansas City is a tough place to play and it gets cold there too. But going to New England, man, it does something to you. That whole culture, the whole environment, they buy into that, man. I see them rallying around this Patriots team, adding another element to this game, making it difficult for Pat Mahomes. I think it will be a shootout. I'm going to say it's going to be a high-scoring contest of points in the 30s, maybe 35-31 or maybe 35-24. But I have to go with the Patriots, man. I think the Patriots are going to make a statement this game.
I'm teetering back and forth. I'm glad I was able to secure a bye in my fantasy week because I got fantasy implications on this game. But yeah. I don't think Mahomes, just to me, Mahomes and Hill, maybe it's the injuries, but it's just not the same this season.
It's not magical.
It's not magical. Maybe people have catching up. The defensive coordinators has caught up to these guys, but I do know this. James White had a monster game last week against the Texans. Man, did he go off. I am thinking that Belichick is going to use James White down the stretch because they have no running game. Now, what is Kansas City going to do to ignite some type of running game for them? What can they do? Because one of the Williams brothers is out. You're going to have to lean heavily on Shady McCoy. Does Kansas City, I know it's crazy, do they have enough weapons to overcome injuries this time of season? Because they're a totally different team when Tyreek Hill's not out there.
Big time.
You know what I'm saying? So the only thing I think that can help Kansas City in this game is the fact that New England really don't have a downfield weapon. And Kansas City defense, their defense is not that good, but they don't have to worry about getting beat over the top. So I'm interested to see how this game goes because this is going to have playoff implications all over it. This team, they may see each other again. Kansas City may be traveling to New England again in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and that's a real possibility.
So I believe I'm going to go in this one, man.
Go ahead, pick them. Pick them.
New England 21, Kansas City 10.
Pick them. You're insane. Who helps you with these scores, man? Who?
Berman.
No, it's not Berman.
Whoop.
It must be the count on Sesame Street.
The count?
Because you're not counting well. You need to go back to the fundamentals.
21-10?
Yeah, that's not happening.
Really? So you don't think Kansas City can beat
Not
over
happening.
10 points?
Nah. No, sir.
Well, okay, man.
No, sir.
So you think this is going to be a high-scoring game? New England can't score a bunch of points.
But the defense can.
New England's defense?
Yeah.
Man, New England's defense, I'm not going to take jabs out here, man. I'm not going to
I thought you was going to take another route with that. I thought you was going to say, well, then they can hold them to 10 points. But
no.
Well, that's the prime or the key matchups of the week. Let me go ahead and do my roll call of winners versus the losers. Carolina at Atlanta. You just fired a coach, Carolina. There's no way you're going down to Atlanta and beating a desperate Falcon team. Cincinnati at Cleveland. By default, Cleveland Browns. But what a trash game. Washington Redskins at Green Bay Packers. Got to go with discount double check. A-Rod, the bad man. Denver at Houston. Denver just can't seem to figure it out. And that's been for some seasons. I don't even give them too much credit for the Peyton Manning era. That was just 2 seasons, and that was because of Peyton Manning. Got to go with the Houston Texans. Detroit Lions at Minnesota Vikings. I know I just said Zimmer probably should be fired, but this game, he's going to secure a win. He's going to secure a win. That was just a bold prediction. Zimmer's a great coach. Miami Dolphins at New York Jets. By default, I'm going with the Jets. Miami has to go to a cold environment. Got to go with them. Indianapolis Colts at the Tampa Bay Bucks. Bruce Arians is going to stick it to the Colts. Best believe. LA Chargers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Y'all know what I say. Do fall. Got to go with the Chargers. Can't pick them Jags. Sorry. Pittsburgh at Arizona. Got to go with the Steelers. They're battling, dude. You can hate it or love it. Tennessee Titans at the Oakland Raiders. I'm back on let's get John Gruden as many losses as possible. But I think they can get the win against the Titans. If you feel me, knock on wood. New York Giants at Philadelphia Eagles. What a dumpster Monday night game. I got to go with the Eagles.
All right. So I'm going to take Atlanta over Carolina because Atlanta are playing for jobs.
Yeah. Livelihood.
Livelihood. I'm going to take Cleveland over Cincinnati because, 15 years ago, Cleveland and Cincinnati was in the same exact places.
Yeah. They're not far apart now, but
they're in the same exact places. I'm taking Green Bay over Washington because Green Bay just trumps Washington. I got Houston over Denver. I'm taking Minnesota over Detroit. I'm taking Miami over the Jets because this series has a quirky results every time.
It never goes the way you think it's going to go.
Never. I'm taking Tampa over Indy. I'm taking Jacksonville over the LA Chargers. And it's funny because now the Chargers is a team that has no future.
None.
I'm taking,
and they moving.
Yeah. I'm taking Arizona over Pittsburgh because at some point in time, Pittsburgh has to come back down to reality.
No.
New England, of course, over Kansas City. I'm taking Tennessee over Oakland because ever since Oakland came to the East Coast,
it's been down.
It's been a mess, and Tannehill's playing pretty good. And I'm taking the Rams over the Seahawks, and I'm taking the Giants, the New York Football Giants, and Eli's return to knock off the Eagles.
Oh, yeah. How'd you let me miss the Seattle-LA Rams game?
Man, you going too fast, man.
I did. I was going fast to get through with that dumpster fire game down at the bottom on Monday night.
They should have flexed that out, shouldn't they?
Yeah, they should have. But I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks over the Rams, man. No more cramming. No more cramming.
No.
That was a fun year, you know.
They had a good game. Monday was a Monday night.
Yeah.
Big Day showed up.
Man, I looked at Jalen Ramsey's stats for the season.
He come a hater move.
It's not a hater move, man. I know he does well. His stats aren't going to translate to the
stats
field.
Are misleading, man.
They are. It's just I've watched them play too. That's the thing that I'm aiming at. Man, Jalen Ramsey be doing some suspect stuff out there, man.
Did you see how many Pro Bowlers the 49ers could potentially have? Did you see that?
I didn't see.
Oh,
what is it, 14?
It's about 13, 14. Yeah. It's unreal.
You know, that Pro Bowl thing has changed a lot. But, you know, it's still, you know, for what it's worth, if you're a Pro Bowler,
go vote for your player. Let me tell you something. If the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Saints, New England, if they end up with 14 players going to the Pro Bowl, that's a sham because it's before the Super Bowl now, and you're going to have a bunch of Pro Bowl reserves.
That make the game.
And it's not going to be a Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
So go vote for your favorites.
Yeah, because if the 49ers make the Super Bowl, if the top two teams that make the Super Bowl have the majority of the players, it's going to be a bunch of reserves. Yeah. And then even some of those good players after the NFC Championship and the AFC Championship, they might not want to play.
They may not want to play. So some of the playoff contending teams.
Yeah, so go vote for vote for Gardner Minshew or whoever you want to.
What? Did you see that the Bengals released Andre Smith?
Nah, the tackle?
Yes. Waived him. They did that Tuesday.
Well, secure that first round pick. Secure that first pick.
Yeah, it seems like that's where they're going to go, huh?
Yeah, man. It's time to, the Red Rider, whatever we call Andy Dalton these days, Red Skull, I don't know. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's over. I don't know what to do about the Cincinnati Bengals. It's a mess. Big time. What's not a mess are the role players. We give it to you, we bring it to you, and we have it for you every single week. We got it. Don't forget to go on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Hit the share button because we know that you've already decided to play it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spreaker, which is home of the role players, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and several other podcast platforms. Hit the play, hit the share, get us out there if you care. You like that, didn't you? You guys have been great. Go ahead and shoot us some messages, some tweets, some inboxes, whatever you guys like to do. Post a topic, get some buzz going, keep it exciting for us as we would do for y'all. You guys enjoy week 14 of this NFL season. We are in the final 4 weeks. Do not miss it. As well as other sports. A lot's going on in college basketball, college football, NBA. Hey, We are a sports podcast. Never forget that. It's just that the NFL is just so good this season to us. Thanks for listening, and we are out.